Here are the writing tips you need to learn how to write good characters with niche quirks and have your readers begging for more. Join me on the journey toward world building my own story, as well as providing you with all the writing tips you need to make your story and characters stand out from all the rest. What is up, you muffin munching muggles? Welcome to Fiction and Reality, where we help you, yes you, become the most devilishly gifted human that you know you are and that you knew you always could be. Now, why give your character a quirk? There is something quirky about you, so why not give your character a quirk? Not that type of quirk. You know, something unique, striking, but distinguished. Are they as flexible as a bendy straw? Do they laugh like this? Or perhaps their personality is out of whack. Giving your character a quirk doesn't just help your audience and reader trace who they are visually or on paper, but establishes something sacred and core to their personality. The tricky part is figuring out exactly what methods you can use to do so, and how you can construct the perfect prefecture for who you want your character to be and how you want to portray them to your audience. Whatever quirk you choose opens up the door for more questions, allowing your audience to delve into the unknown, stir up a heaping helping of curiosity and craving to understand why they act the way they act and say the things they say. Hey, let's start with some physical quirks, shall we? A character's physical demeanor tells a lot about what's going on inside mentally and internally. Are they constantly walking around with a scolding face full of rage like Zuko, who's always frustrated with himself or others in pursuit of earning back his honor? Or are their eyes almost dead and hollow inside? Kind of like Kaneki, who has one eye that's human and the other that glows red, which represents the split between human and ghoul, psychological scars, the loss of identity, and the burden of isolation. There's also the agent of movement in governing a character's physical quirks, such as the way a character struts around, which is more of a cater to Sanji's ideals than anything, and shows how these quirks can serve as a manifestation of morals as well, meaning they entice the audience to ask exactly why someone has taken on a certain posturing and shoveling out the buried motives. Sanji, other than to solely walk with flair, walks with his hands in his pockets to keep them clean, as he's a chef and claims he does so to avoid dirtying them with a fight, which then leads him to tabletop kick people into filet mignon. The physical architecture contours a character's psychological awareness in present time. You know, looking around aimlessly is usually telling of nervousness, though they may do something more tailored to their personality, like a character in my novel, like twirling the loops of her hair, especially when she's hiding something. Of course, there's another character I have in my novel who tends to open and close his fist over and over when he's trying to conceal his rage and anger. But rather than being a precursor to immediate stressors, quirks can become habitual over time and become a dead giveaway, linking how a character feels internally on a consistent basis, and allows your reader to harmonize accordingly. You've done things without noticing, right? Not addictions, but simply out of habit. Habitual quirks are tics that your characters do out of habit, with a repeated and predictable pattern, and most of the time don't even realize that they're doing them. Like one of the characters in my novel who repeatedly pokes the rose pinned in her hair whenever she's nervous. These quirks are routine and natural and help distinguish your character from the bunch. Let's take One Piece that does very good with this for an example. With Zoro getting lost all the time, setting trials ahead for the Straw Hats to find him before taking off, placing a new spin on the wandering swordsman. We also got Chopper, who when he's embarrassed or nervous tends to hide the wrong way, and when stormed with flattery begins to wiggle nervously and insult the people giving him praise. Even with Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, we see him adopt a tic from his torturer, where he cracks his fingers one by one, signaling sort of a transition into a more ruthless and unforgiving persona. More than lighthearted gags or establishing a shift in tone, the habitual quirks allow us to measure exactly where a character might be hovering mentally and emotionally, blending personality with physical reaction. Much like Zenitsu, who fights fiercely after getting scared into a sleepy but feral state, where his swordsmanship becomes awakened. Your character may also have some unique behavioral rituals that they plow through in moments of extreme stress and tension that further characterize them. However which way you spin it, these habitual quirks are essential in considering one of the many unique ways you can tear your character from that meter of normalization and invoke inquiry from others. Style quirks. Ever think of your character's style?
Look at the fucking drip! Yeah!
If you're looking for a way to set your character loose from the horde, you may consider hooking them up with some drip. Hey, you know what else is iced out right now? That like button. If you're enjoying the video right now, go ahead and leave a like and show some love. Whether you're writing novels or screenplays or whatever, understanding that wardrobe can serve as a physical manifestation of a character's internal and external welfare is important. We got the Joker's messy green hair akin to chaos, the exaggerated white face red lips, and smeared makeup evoke a distorted smile, turning something meant to be joyful into something sinister, and the twisted flair that lives in his purple suit. More than being an architect of a character's persona, of course, their wardrobe may actually serve a function, such as in Egghead Island arc on One Piece, where the Straw Hats wear those egghead boots that help them fly around the island, which you see other scientists in Vegapunk wear as well. More than flair, your scuffed up J's and Timberland boots tell a story about who you are, where you're from, customs, and the degree of adherence to social norms, and of course status. How many of you are pulling up like royalty or rolling up to the pub like Thorfinn? So next time you're sculpting a character, remember the drip isn't just for show. It's a map of scars, status, rebellion, hope, and history all woven into what they wear. Characters' fit can be their armor, their rebellion, their truth, or their mask. Ever thought about giving your character a speech quirk? Oh no! That a unique component to your characters and emotionally bite your readers. Maybe you're going for the squeaky humor stick. Maybe you want your character to seem a little serious.
I thought my jokes were bad.
Maybe you just want their laugh to stick out like a sore thumb. The voice of your characters convey a story. Though Pika's voice is a little bit ridiculous on the surface, it's a insecurity he's dealt with throughout his life that works him up into wrath when it's made fun of. The Joker's voice melts with molten madness, dragging the reader ever so softly into the psychotic mind of the visceral clown. Culmination of trauma and psychological deficit mending into one being. A speech quirk sets a tone for your character and the expectations for what your audience is to expect from them, and invites inquiries about the nature of their voice.
Beside a kangaroo.
Whether it's an inside calling or witty tick or a scar of their past, their speech quirk defines and distinguishes the unique nature of their persona, adds pressure to the nature of the events, and leaves a lasting impression. So next time you write, don't just give your character something to say, give them a way to say it that only they can own. A speech quirk isn't just flavor, it's a signature, a window into backstory, pain, or pride. It's how your character claims space in your reader's memory long after the story's done. Sometimes it's the smallest tick, phrase, or laugh that echoes the loudest. Make your character's voice unforgettable and watch them step off the page and into legend. Another way to give your characters that unique edge is to tailor the right personality to them. A character might be on the wilder side of life, or a little bit sneaky and greedy, but the decorum in which they posture their emotions affront serves as a surface map to their underlying intentions. What's more is it forges a bond between your audience, yanking them from that funnel string of curiosity and inviting inquiries that fling open a door of discovery for answers to rush through. The personality quirk is a consistent trend of behavioral posturing that shatters through the facade of normality in the most lively or barren of moments. Do they compulsively steal even from their friends when the opportunity presents itself? Do they read those no-no magazines stashed under your bed? Does their personality change conditionally to some known trigger? You want to be able to understand what trigger fires this shift in personality, perhaps even the origin of the quirk itself, or decide on simply just giving them a quirk for the hell of it. Personality quirks aren't just flavor, they're the fingerprints of the soul pressed against the lens through which we watch a character unravel. These quirks form the rhythm of how a character moves through the world, and more importantly, how the world responds to them. A compulsive thief isn't just stealing items, they're stealing scenes, stealing trust, stealing the audience attention. The one who blushes at the magazines might just be showing deeper loneliness or longing. These behaviors don't just humanize your characters, they complicate them, tether them to action in a way that drives plot, builds tension, and reveals truth in disguise. So when you craft your next protagonist or villain, don't just ask what they do, ask what they do when no one's watching. That's where the real story lives. If you took something from this video, I want you to take a moment to crack that subscribe button below and like the video. Like the video. Pushes these videos out so that others can take key tokens that you gain. So do your fellow comrades a favor. The direction of progress is forward and it is only up from here. I will leave a link to my socials in the description below. If you want more info on how to improve your story, feel free to check out some of my other videos by clicking right here. Writers, world builders, and storytellers aiming to perfect writing techniques and enhance their storytelling and world building are all welcome. And with that, remember, if ever you're lost in forestry words, strip your mind from fantasy and look to the window of the world, and there your mind will run free.